Hello, my friends. It's Nathan Johnson here. So I am going to do what I usually do and give it a few minutes for people to start tuning in. And as soon as we have some people together, we will dive into our webinar of Q&As. So today's all going to be about questions and answers. Anything that you might want to know to jumpstart you into the industry. That's what we're going to handle today. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to sign on, and once there's a couple people, we'll dive right in. So for those of you that don't know, I'm Nathan Johnson. I'm going to be your guide today as we talk about a whole bunch of things. Hi, Leah. So it's going to be a tremendous amount of fun, and hopefully some of these questions will start a dialogue with you guys where you'll think of some more things. Hi, Iris. You'll think of some more things that might be burning questions that might push you forward. Hi, Tara. So anything that you think of along the way, I answer all the questions at the end. So don't worry. If you put in a question, you know, like I've said to you guys a million times, those of you who know QC well, the team at QC bends over backwards to make sure, hi Jessica, to make sure that everybody gets the most out of it. So tonight there are people sitting in the office after hours to make sure that they're going to be able to funnel me all of your questions. So don't worry if you don't see anything. Hi Melissa. Hi Nilda. Hi everybody. So don't worry if I don't answer your question right away. It's going to be funneled to me at the end, okay? And if for some reason at the end you feel like it's being skipped, well, write it out again. You know, you're not going to be lost. You're not going to be forgotten, okay? And if for any reason at the end your burning question was not answered, you can send it to the student support team at QC and we'll make sure that it's answered, okay? So nobody's ever forgotten here. We are all family. Hi, Madeline. So nice to see you. I know her in person, and I've known her for a very, very, very long time. She's quite the darling. Yeah, she and I have a long history together. Okay, so once again, my name's Nathan Johnson. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about me, and then we're gonna start getting into your questions, and we'll talk about why we're doing this particular webinar today. But my name's Nathan Johnson. For those of you that don't know me, I've been in the industry for God, I hate saying this number because then people start going, how old are you really? I've been in the industry for over 20 years. In that time, I've been fortunate to work with over 700 celebrity clients. They include people like Paul McCartney, Liza Minnelli, RuPaul, Alicia Keys, Kira Sedgwick, Kevin Bacon, Paula Abdul, Kate McKinnon, Leah Michelle. Pretty diverse group, right? I was the artist on 2 seasons of TV's Project Runway, which we'll talk about in here. Hello from Boston. I am a Massachusetts boy myself. I'm from the Berkshires. So in addition to that, I've been featured in every major magazine. I've been a global artist for many international brands. I've had the great privilege and opportunity to be featured in every major magazine and design more than 20 official New York Fashion Week shows. That's just some of what I've done, right? That's me letting you know that anything you want to achieve in the world of makeup is entirely within your grasp. And we're going to talk about here what will lead you to that success, and anything that you want to achieve. It really does come down to a couple of things and your own dedication. But that's a lot of what we're going to talk about today. So I do want to ask you guys, if you're social media lovers, which my guess is everybody has some bit of their toe dipped into the social media pool, I would love it if you guys would take a minute and follow the QC Makeup Academy on all of our feeds. And I'll tell you why. It's not uncommon that there are contests. It's not uncommon that there are awesome articles. Egypt, wow, awesome, welcome. It's not uncommon that there are awesome articles that will teach you a tremendous amount. Hi, Australia. So please follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, follow us everywhere. And then when those articles come out that tell you colors to look at in your kit, the way trends are changing, how to do the perfect cat eye for different eye shapes, read those articles because everything will start to click. And QC is really strong on making sure that you have a lot of different ways to get a solid education and to keep adding to your education. So don't be shy about taking advantage of that. And it's completely free. Just follow the media feeds and then read the articles when they come out. You know, it's super easy. And if there's a contest, enter the contest. It's more practice, right? So it's a lot of fun. So the reason that we're doing this particular, which I love, the reason we're doing this is because, as I started to say in the little video I put up yesterday, if any of you saw it, it's really a powerful thing to be able to ask questions of people in the industry who've come before you. Because no matter what your goal is, it's granted, we all have our own path, right? It's going to be a unique and individual path for each and every one of us, but we are all kind of on a common journey through beauty. So there is a lot that can be learned from the people who've come before. So one thing that I'm going to try and be for you today, and for those of you that are at QC and are my students, I hope that I'm pushing you in that direction each and every day, each and every time you submit your units. But the most important thing you can do is not be shy to ask your questions. There's so much to learn from those that come before, and you can get so many tips and tricks and thoughts and ideas. And you guys have submitted some pretty awesome questions that we're going to go into today, and I think that hopefully they're going to give you a lot of information, and they may spiral you off into some other questions. Okay, so let's dive in right away. Oh, and if you're on those media feeds, in addition to following QC, give me a little follow, because anytime you put up your work and you just even put at Nathan Walnut somewhere. I'm at Nathan Walnut, no spaces. I love giving out hearts and likes, and if you want comments, I'll give you comments. So that's all there for you if you want. And I'm Nathan Walnut, no spaces. So here we go, my loves. The very first question: once you've completed your degree program, what are the first steps to entering into the makeup industry? Now, I think that's an awesome question, right? Wouldn't it be just so spectacular if it was just so easy? If I was like, well, it's step this, step this, step this, and you're in. Well, it's a combination of stuff, but it's going to be different and unique for every single person who takes that path. I'm going to give you some tips, though. All right? The first thing I want you guys to understand is it's not just about the degree. A lot of people, and I don't think it's just, in beauty, but it's kind of everywhere. A lot of people think, well, when I get my acting degree, when I get my writing degree, Cocoa, Florida, my parents lived in Melbourne forever. I know Cocoa so well. That's so awesome. I was down there all the time at Ron John, and yeah, welcome. So it's not just about the degree, all right? People always think, oh, I'll get my degree and then the world will open up to me. Yes and no, okay? Here's the rub, here's the trick. The degree is really important because you have to have education. It's an imperative thing, okay? You have to have education. It's an absolutely essential thing, all right? But it's what you do with that education. It's how you utilize it that will lead you to where you want to go. So it's about your knowledge base. It's about your practice. That's why we've put together the courses in the way that we have. Master Makeup Artistry, Pro Makeup Workshop, Global Beauty. They increase your education so you are undeniably an expert, all right? But let's look at it two ways. Let's say there are two people, all right? There are two people. There is person one who puts in an hour of dedicated practice every day. They watch their videos, they go in, and practice isn't just sitting down and doing my makeup. Oh, I practiced. Well, okay, person B does that. They sit down, they do their makeup, I practiced. Person number one is, on the other hand, is trying each eyeliner on other people, on themselves. Okay, what does a straight eyeliner do? All right, I see what that does. That's the natural. Is it perfect? Is it completely symmetrical on the two sides? All right, let me turn this one into a wedge, and now let's look at that versus the other one. What is that? What do those two do? Okay, I see how that changed the eye. That would be interesting on that eye shape. Let me try that. See the difference? That is practice. That is really incredible dedicated practice. It changes the way you think. It changes the way you think about makeup and makes you work from a point of view of technique instead of just kind of going on autopilot. I'm an artist. I put makeup on. It's about learning these techniques and guiding yourself in those directions, and that's a pretty powerful thing. So the people who put in that effort and learn are already going to be leagues ahead of others. So the very first thing that I want to say is make sure you're ready. So you're ready to step into the industry, but are you really ready? Do you really understand all the techniques of makeup? And I'm not saying, and there's going to be stuff I talk about, there's some questions later that will tie into this, but there's ways to keep learning and working while you're growing. And that's what I always recommend people do. But one of the most important things that I say is keep learning. Keep taking master classes. Don't learn from Instagram and YouTube. It will teach you bad habits and trendy stuff. instead follow working artists who are really working in the real world, the people that the Instagrammers and YouTubers are knocking off. That's who you want to follow. All right, and last month's webinar, if you tune into that, I go through a whole list of them. Some of their names are, and you can rewind this and listen to it, they're Billy B, Bo Nelson, Pat McGrath, Quinn Murphy, Orlando Santiago, James Vincent. Definitely follow Kevin James Bennett. Definitely follow Stephen Molesky, who originated the Kim Kardashian look, and see how incredibly different it's actually done in reality versus how the Instagrammers and YouTubers have blown it out of proportion, okay? Definitely follow Christopher Buckle, who does Mariah Carey and everybody else. Follow Deshaun Hatcher. That's a lot of good people to follow, okay? So I want you to follow them. And then look at what they do. Look at how they utilize technique. Look at how they're on the cutting edge of makeup, right? Yeah, Nicole, Pat McGrath, awesome. She has defined so much of what makeup is for people today, right? These people transform the face of the industry, and they're who the Instagrammers knock off. That's who you want to follow. That's who's, and you don't want to copy anybody, but you just want to make sure that as you learn, as you get your techniques on par, the goal is never for you to be an imitation of. I'm an imitation of Pat McGrath. No, you want to be on par with these people from a skill and talent level, but you want to very exclusively have your own unique voice. Well, how do you have your own unique voice? Let me tell you, it's much easier than you would think. And this all ties into, stepping into the makeup industry, right? Have your own voice. How do you have your own voice? Learn the classic techniques inside and out. Then, when you know them inside and out, no matter what, the reason I always say to people, be so generous with your knowledge. Teach your clients everything. Teach other people everything. Because nobody's ever going to have the weight of your hand. Nobody's going to ever have the way that your fingers move. So nobody's ever going to be able to do what you do. So it's not that you have to copy anybody. You can be uniquely yourself and demonstrate your skills through your body, onto people's faces. But makeup isn't just putting a look on them. It's about choosing which techniques to use and why to enhance their features. Why am I choosing this eyeliner versus that one? Why am I choosing to bring the blush only to here instead of bringing it up here? What does that do? Why am I choosing to carve out the cheek a little bit here? To pop them up. Why do I want to add more arch to this side? Oh, because this eyebrow on Nathan is higher. Wow, look what I just did when I added a little bit of powder there. So it's knowing how to use your techniques that makes you a master. So now let's keep going. I've already said know your focus, right? And take advanced classes. Well, actually, I didn't say know your focus. That's where I'm going now. Know your focus. So one of the most important things that you can do is know where you want to go. So when people first get their training, right, one of the very first things that they always do again and again and again and again is they go, I want to work everywhere. Well, I'm not saying you can't live everywhere. I can't work everywhere. You can work everywhere, okay? I said live everywhere because I saw Francesca's live and then it came into my head. Sometimes I have a goldfish brain, so forgive me, everybody. Just work with me. Go with me here. So you have to know your focus. Now, one of the things that supercharged me into my career, I knew I wanted to do all kinds of stuff. I knew I wanted to do editorial. I definitely wanted to do catalog because I just found it so interesting. I wanted to do advertising, and I knew I wanted to work with celebrities, okay? So, what did I do? Did I think, okay, I'm going to start taking steps in all these directions? No. I realized that you can transition laterally. So the greatest thing to do is choose one or two areas that really interest you and put your focus and attention there. For me, I knew I wanted to work with celebrities, and I thought, what's the quickest way to celebrities? Well, let me see if I can start focusing on celebrities, and let me try and get in with film and television production companies. Let me go through any back door I can get and try and form relationships, network, make these relationships, right? So, once I was able to do that and establish myself, do you know how easy it was for me to suddenly transition and start doing some catalog work and some editorials? But imagine if I had divided my focus between 10 areas and said, okay, I'm going to start doing editorial, I'm going to start doing this, I'm going to start doing that. That's so many less hours a day that I could have spent on this one area, climb this ladder, have a level of expertise in this area, and then say, okay, guys, you see what I've managed to do in TV and film, I would really love this opportunity to work with this select. It's easy to transition because people see that you're experienced, right? So don't be afraid to set a focus. It doesn't mean you're never going to do anything else, but it means you're climbing a ladder faster if you focus on 1 or 2 things versus looking at 5 or 10. And I'm not saying your career can't do 5 or 10 things. Like, remember at the beginning where I went through the laundry list of things that I've done? That was to say, look at what has happened after I chose to step in a single direction, deliberately knowing that eventually I could turn it into an umbrella with lots of spines, right? So if you give yourself that area of expertise, it's really easy to start creating a whole bunch of other spines off it. Super easy. So that's one of the little tidbits that I give you. Like, for example, we know our focus. Network in your area of focus. Let's say it's bridal, since that's going to be so easy for so many of you. Contact all your local bridal salons, hair salons, wedding boutiques that sell dresses, party planners, bridal photographers, anybody who has contact with the client that you want to work with. Form relationships with these people, no matter what you have to do to form that relationship, even if it means offering what you do for free to someone who works in the salon. For example, the owner of the salon say, can I do a makeup demo on you for all of your upcoming brides, for free, showing you what I do and what I'm capable of, so we can start to form a relationship, and maybe you'll start recommending me to your brides. They're probably not going to say no, right? So you have this opportunity to show them what you do and start, climbing in that area. Do the same thing at the bridal salons, because when these people start saying, imagine all the people, they all go to their hairdressers, right? They all go to bridal salons, and if they're getting a high recommendation from somebody that they're forming a relationship with in there, why wouldn't they at least call you? Right? And again, your skill and talent is going to book you the job. Who you are personally, if you click with them, that's going to book you the job, but you have to get that far, right? What are the other things that you really need to do? Styled shoots. Now, I knew I wanted to work with celebrities in film and TV, so styled shoots were less important. It was more important that I start getting work on camera. So that's why I was going for production companies, because on-camera work, snippets, that's the equivalent of the video version of the styled shoot, right? It's shot by a professional team. It's beautiful. So you want these professionally shot or photographed things so that you will be able to use them. How might that work? And why does it differ from something you take yourself? Now, think about the Instagram feeds you love to follow. You don't love to follow the ones that when you're looking at the photo, there's shadows all over one side of her face and there's all kinds of wires in the background and a pile of her dirty underwear over her shoulder, right? No, you love the ones that just are captivating and catch you and they're lit just so and everything looks perfect, right? So that's why styled shoots are so important. Collaborate with people, work with real professionals, real models, real photographers, real hairstylists, unless you possess the trained ability to do both. Don't be like, I've always been good at taking photos, or people always say I'm pretty enough to be a model. Remember, models really know how to use their eyes. They really do. They can do these things that just make your pictures look like $1 million, and that's why it's a job, and that's why everybody can't do it. It's a specialized thing, right? So don't be afraid to use real experts, all right? So those are my tips. Know your focus. Take steps towards your focus each and every day. Don't be like, okay, I know my focus, and then get in your bed. Know your focus and then take direct steps toward it. Lay out a plan for networking. Lay out a plan for making your media feed. Media feeds are very important because people are going to spy on you with them. Media feeds are not going to be how you book your clients. They're not. Nobody's going to start doing Google search. Oh, I'm looking for a bridal makeup. Let me Google all the Instagram feeds. No, they usually do a Google search itself. It brings people to websites, or they get some word of mouth, right? And then what happens is then they go, ooh, I'm going to go spy on Jessica. Let me see. Jessica MUA. Ooh, okay. Ooh, I like that one. Ooh, I'm not so sure about that one. They're going to totally spy on you and everything you've done for like ever and ever and ever, right? So make sure your media feeds are really strongly representative of you, what you do, and where you want to go in the industry. Pardon me, which is why it's so important to have the right sort of styled shoots and the like, because they speak strongly to potential clients. All right, number 2, what are some things I can do to get started in the makeup industry while working toward finishing the degree program? Excellent question. Here are some things that you can do right away. 1, begin working with brides. There are brides everywhere. Start to form relationships, networking, as I had said in the above question. Start working with brides. How about this? This is a little unexpected. What if you contact your local high schools or other sort of secondary schools and see if they have some extracurricular budgets where you might be able to teach a makeup and self-esteem workshop, the power of simple touches and how they can change our approach into the world, or teaching basic makeup an entry point into you having a career in the world of beauty. There's money to be spent in these places, right? So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to think and experiment in those directions. Brides, you never want to be like, oh my God, I'm learning on a bride. But you know what? Our makeup's always going to get better and better and better and better and better. And guess what? The bride's not going to hire you if she doesn't like what you do. So if you book the trial and she doesn't like you, you don't book the wedding. No big deal. You're learning, you're practicing, you're getting your skill on real faces. So brides is a super important thing. Going to school, seeing if they have a budget. Local theaters. Local theaters is an awesome idea. Why don't you call the local theaters? Because you know what? Most people in local theaters don't just have wild out there makeups. The majority of the time, people in theater and film look like themselves. So you are able to practice your skills. Crisp eyeliners, beautiful blush applications, but depending on the size of the theater and how intense the lights are, it may be heavier. Well, then you're learning a lot, right? You're seeing how makeup changes based on the situation, the lighting, the how far your viewers are away, all of that stuff. It's super important, right? Good place to learn, good place to practice. All three can earn you money. What about seeing if retirement homes have a budget where you can come in and do makeup for the women? Yeah, flower shops are a great place to also network. Thank you for that. But what if you go into retirement homes and see, maybe they don't have that, but you say, what about this? This would be so great. You know, the number of women at retirement homes is higher than men. Women live longer than men in most cases. The number is higher. And there are specialty activities all the time. If these women come in and somebody's touching their face and loving them and talking about beauty, who doesn't love that? And how great would you feel doing that? So don't be afraid to create these opportunities for yourself. And I'm not just talking about these from a money perspective, because some of them might not pay you. But here's the thing, okay? Every one of them, even if they don't pay you, you are going to learn so much. And that knowledge is what's really going to propel you forward, working on all those different and unexpected people. Another great way to earn money, what about working at a makeup counter? So many people are going to come in, and you know how much you're going to learn working on that many faces again and again and again and again? Blow your mind. Work at a makeup counter if you can. You'll earn money. What if you blog? If you're blogging, you can be doing makeups, or you can be doing just a single technique. Today, and you know how much you learn doing that? Today I'm going to teach you guys the variations in the 3 eyeliners and show them on yourself. And then write about what each one does, how they change the eye, what eye shapes they might be most ideal for, because then you're in effect, you're studying more, you're learning more, you're absorbing more knowledge. What if, as I'd started to mention with hair salons before, what if you started to co-chair beauty events with hair salons and form a relationship with one stylist and say, why don't you and I do beauty events? We'll do one once a month. We'll charge $10 per person, which is less than a movie. They'll be 2.5 to 3 hours long. You talk about a trend in makeup, in hair. I'll talk about a trend in makeup, and then we'll do demos on how to do it. Everybody will get the chance to do it. We'll talk about how it's based on this classic technique, what they do, where they can use it, how they can make it all work on their individual types. You know, or even you can team up with a stylist who also comes in and goes, today we're going to talk about stripes, how everyone can wear stripes, and all 3 of you just split the profit at the end. So if that's one evening and you get 30 women in there, you know, you aren't doing so bad. You know, you're all making $100 and you're there for a few hours and you're learning and sharing about something that you love, right? What if you go to local colleges and you reach out to their film and television programs, and theater, film, and television programs as a makeup artist for these productions? That's part of what I did when I was carving my path, and I'll talk about that lower. Don't be afraid to look for the millions of different places. There are often hospitals that have budgets for people to come in and do makeup in there. There are also volunteer situations, but there are paid positions at certain hospitals, certain burn units, certain things like that, where they reteach people how to give themselves eyebrows and things like that. So there are a lot of opportunities if you aren't afraid to lift a few rocks and take a little look. You know, you got to look, you got to explore. So question number 3, when you first became a makeup artist, what was the first step of advertisement? I've never believed in advertising in that way. I've never done it because I think it's too much putting it in the hands of other people. All right, do I think advertisement is something that can be valuable for people? Absolutely. But what did I do? I networked. In this day and age, social media makes it so easy for people. They go, oh, I'll just do my social media. And then the problem ends up being that they become lazy at everything else, right? Social media will never replace the power of what relating to someone can. And somebody who has contact with people going, oh my God, you got to use this person. Social media will never beat that, right? So I was very proactive in seeking my clients. I didn't want to just hope they'd find me from the right thing. So I submitted myself to things. I reached out to production companies. I reached out to things that were in the direction I wanted to go because I had a focus, right? And it paid off. So my advice to you is don't wait to be found. Be extremely proactive about it, because then you're setting yourself up to be found because you're putting all these feelers out. It's a genius thing to do. But that doesn't mean don't use your social media feeds, because remember, they're going to spy on you. So you want to make sure that you have all this stuff so that they can look at it and be happy. So how do you deal? Number 4, I like this one. And guys, I'm going to give you the answer that as a professional I have to give you, and then I'm going to give you the answer that is totally truth because I'm a human being. So how do you deal with rude or dissatisfied clients? Here's the answer that you're going to expect me to give. Do whatever you can to make sure that they're satisfied. You know what I mean? That's the answer that you need. It's our job, and yes, we're really connected to what we do as artists, so it's very personal if people are rude or mean, and guess what? You live on this earth. A lot of people are rude and mean, and it's not going to change anywhere. In beauty, most people aren't that way because they're excited about what's happening and they want to have a good relationship with you. But you are going to encounter it sometimes. I have as well. So most of the time, I'm able to handle it well, and then I call up my friends later and I go, oh my God, you're never going to believe this witch. You're never going to believe this. And I talk about, and then I call up my next 35 friends and I tell everybody, and then I feel better and I've got a good laugh about it. But I'll be completely honest, I've lost my temper. I have lost my temper with people before. I've been rude right back. And this is why I'm going to tell you from experience not to do it. It never turns out well. It's never, ever. It might feel good in the moment, but 2 seconds later, you're going to be like, gulp. How do I get out of that? So don't do it. I've done it. Don't do it. Don't. Guys, swallow your breath and do whatever you can. Call all your friends later. Send me a message on Facebook and go, oh my God, I met the meanest person on earth. And I'll go, oh my God. Keep it in if you can, right? Be your best you all the time, all right? Be your best you. Oh, yeah, I know how hard that is, so I'm with you on that. Number 5, how much money can you expect to make as a celebrity makeup artist? Depends. It really depends. It depends on how much you work. It depends on how much you charge. Madeline, you've cried before I've cried too. Sometimes you're working with them and you're like, I'm doing everything I can for you. Don't you understand? I'm not a plastic surgeon. All right, so it depends on what you do, the direction that you take yourself, all of that, right? Like for me, I charged a lot in my 30s. After I was on Project Runway, my rate skyrocketed. It skyrocketed, and especially as one celebrity turned into another. And I was just so busy, I had to charge a lot because there were so many people. I had to make sure that what I was doing it was right. But so you can make a lot of money. I'll be honest with you. But now that I'm in my 40s, I've changed my perspective. An enormous amount of what I do now is education focused. Not all. I'm still working very much in the professional world. I'm still working with my celebrities. I've already done more than 40 this year. I'm doing one for the Tony Awards in a week and a half, my favorite one. But the difference now is I don't just work with anybody. Now I work with people that I know I love, my regular clients, and I will work with people who come by recommendation or someone I was just excited about. I don't like mean people. Even though sometimes I myself fall into the habit of being mean. I know it's awful, but I remind myself every day not to do it, and I'm human, I make my mistakes, we all do, and I'd be a liar if I told you otherwise, right? But we all make those mistakes. But now I try to work only with people who are incredibly honest, incredibly kind, who see beauty the way I do, who know that there are real... Granted, we're all good at what we do, right? And we're getting better each and every day, but there are things that we can't do for some people. If someone has ripples of skin below their eye, yes, we can make it look better, but we can't make it go away. So for me, it's about working with people who understand what makeup really is capable of and are there for the right reasons, and who I can have a wonderful hour or day with. And that's the direction I work in now. So is what I make different? Sure, it's different. It's different, you know? But at any moment, I could go back to the other way. And the same is going to be true for you guys. It's going to depend on what you do. But let me tell you this as well. There are people who, like, you'll never, ever, ever hear me say that I'm a celebrity makeup artist. You'll never hear me say it. I hate the phrase when people use it to describe themselves. But when someone else says it, it's logical. It makes sense. If you work with celebrities, you do makeup on celebrities. You are a celebrity makeup artist. But so many people will use that phrase when they've worked on one person who was like was on one episode of a reality show that nobody knows. So it's a very dangerous phrase. So be very careful about using that. But when you get to the point where you're really, really, really working with people on big projects and you can make a lot of money. You really can. You can do certain ad campaigns that pay you $15,000 for the ad campaign. You really can. And you're there for 2 or 3 days, you know? So, you know, you can do, if you're really succeeding in the bridal industry, you can make between $100,000 and $200,000. You absolutely can. We have QC students who are doing that, who are so booked, they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars from makeup. It's amazing in small towns. So, you know, you can make a lot, but it's all in how practiced are you? How skilled are you? How in demand are you going to be able to make yourself? All of those things are incredibly important, okay? So it's going to vary person to person to person, and it's also going to vary on what you want to do and what you want to achieve, right? To be completely honest with you. All right, let's take a look at number 6. How can I boost my confidence to go out there and get out of my comfort zone? I love this one. Take advanced classes and practice. Most importantly, practice on other people. It's much harder to work on other people than it is yourself. Practice on them. If you work in a mirror all the time, you're going to get trapped in that mirror. You're never going to want to work on anybody else because you're just trapped in the mirror. Get away from the mirror. You know, work on other people as often as you can. And here's the thing. No matter how nervous you are, if you are well learned, lots of great classes, and you're really practiced, you can always fall back on your technique. Let me be completely honest with you. There are certain celebrities that I have to go and work on, and I am like, oh my God, I'm sweating profusely. I can't lift my arms up because a gallon of water will fall on the floor. It happens. It's going to happen to every single one of us, right? So what do we do in that moment to make the most of it? Take a deep breath, and then start applying your techniques. And once you start utilizing your techniques, your nerves go away. You're not working on autopilot. You're looking at them. You're looking at the shape of their eyes. You're making adjustment within your technique to create what you need to create, but you are falling back on your technique. You can always fall back on skill if you've mastered the skills. That's why I'm so powerful and pushy about education. Like, I don't own QC. People would think because I'm so like, take these classes, I'd own the school. I don't own the school, guys. I promise you. I don't own the school. But what I do want you to do is I want you to own your skill. There's nothing more important to that, because guess where creativity is born out of? It's born out of education and practice. So put in that effort and you will achieve extraordinary things. Question number 7. How did I land my first makeup gig, and how did it have an impact on my life? Well, remember, I talked about focus. So I started searching the newspapers and the local trade papers for any sort of a production that might be smaller scale, and I might have the opportunity to get in as the makeup artist, right? So I wasn't looking for like a Rob Reiner film or a Steven Spielberg film, because no, I'm never going to get that, right? I was looking for smaller production companies, smaller films. I was writing to them, and you know what? You get a lot of no's, and no's are usually no reply. So that's a no, right? No reply. No. So, but then people are willing to take a chance on you. One thing turned to another, and that eventually connected me to my first celebrity, because I found a really small budget company that had the opportunity. They were one day on their film. They were doing a film, and one day Ice-T was on it. Now, I knew, unless Ice-T was bringing his own makeup artist, which I didn't think he would, I knew that it might be worth doing the entire film just for that one day with Ice-T. They hired me, and I did all the actors on this film, and I did Ice-T. Ice-T liked me so much, he introduced me to his wife, Coco. Coco introduced me to 1 million people. Spirals out of control. So that's what happened for me, right? So don't be afraid to And it happened for me pretty quick because I laid out a plan, right? Lay out a plan. Lift up rocks other people wouldn't lift up. Take the less beaten path. Everybody else is on the easy path. Take the curved and crooked one, because there's so much to be found, so many gems to be discovered on that path. So number 8, how do I feel about Instagram models and influencers with no training and education creating beauty channels and calling themselves makeup artists? Here's the thing. It doesn't bother me. Here's what makes me sad. It makes me sad when people who really want to work in the industry start following these people and believing what they say. That makes me sad, because it can put people way behind in their actual goals when they start thinking an ombre, overdrawn, overshaped eyebrow is how eyebrows are done. That distracts focus. It doesn't enhance it. When people start thinking a glowing circle on the tip of the nose is flattering, yeah, for the right photograph, when it's turned at the certain angle. See the way that my skin is reflecting right now? It's dewy. But if I turned that into a glowing white spot, now you're all staring at the glowing white spot on the tip of my nose. But if I deliberately put a glowing white spot there, it's like a spotlight on a stage. You only stare at it. So people who want to get into the industry learn so much misinformation that they end up going down the wrong path. And that's part of what ends up being the problem. And then they don't know why they can't work and why they don't get jobs. And they're like, oh my God, but I'm a makeup artist. I do really long cat eyes and I use pink eyeshadow on everybody. I'm a makeup artist. They never understand technique. They know how to copy looks. And it just makes me a little bit sad, because I feel like they're backtracking toward their goal instead of taking the positive directions toward it. So you can't hate anybody who's figured out ingenuity and how to earn money and a living for themselves, but it just makes me sad when they're bamboozling people who really want to succeed at the career. That makes sense? So number 9, what is my preferred lighting setup when I work on locations and taking photo shoots? Natural 100% of the time. The only time it's different is if it's a film and television, video, or studio shoot, in which case you leave it up to the professionals. You use natural light, make sure the face is well illuminated in the natural light, it captures pictures beautifully. Or if it's a studio shoot, let the team do it. If it's a film and TV shoot, let the team do it. That's the best way to do it, right? It'll make your photos come to life. They'll look neat 100% of the time. And I encourage everybody, don't use ring lights. Ring lights blow out your makeup. They make it look smoother and better than it is. That's why all the influencers use them, right? But if all of your people getting ready to hire you see these and then you do their makeup and it's not that smooth, they're going to be like, huh. So just be careful about deceptive practices, and ring lights can be one of those. Number 10, in the Master Makeup Artistry course, do you learn what colors suit people best based on their undertone, skin tone, etc.? No. And I'm going to tell you why. You might not like that answer, but you're going to like it when I take you to the reason why. That's old style thinking. That's the kind of thinking like, oh, she's an autumn. She only wears these colors. No, that's ancient thinking, right? In this course, you're going to learn how to identify the undertones warm, cool, and neutral. You're going to learn also, here's the important thing, and this is where you're really going to get your knowledge. You're going to learn that every color has a warm, neutral, and cool cousin to it. So, for example, let's consider blue. All right, blue is traditionally considered a cool color, right? But when you look at the spectrum of blue, there's a warm end of it and a cool end of it, and in the very middle, the neutral end, right? So we've got this really cool blue down here. Like, let's say it's a really, rich navy. It's super cool. But then up here, we have a teal. Teal's warm. You see, there's yellow in that blue. So there's a cool and a warm spectrum. So when you really understand color and color science, you're going to start knowing, okay, let's say I'm your model. I'm cool skin toned, right? So if I'm cool skin toned and you're like, oh, well, he's cool skin toned, so what colors do I use on him? Well, do you want the colors to look more natural, or do you want them to pop more? If you want them to look more natural, use cool colors and the cool cousins of cool colors. If you want them to pop more, use a warm color. Warm colors will leap off my skin. But cool colors will look more like they work with my skin. So it depends on what you want to create. So how you mix them creates the effect that you're aiming for. It makes you a bit of a makeup mad scientist, which is a ton of fun, right? And it puts you in full control of your artistry, and it's so much better than going back to she's a winter, she wears this, right? So don't be afraid to do that. All right, number 11. What's my favorite part of being a celebrity makeup artist? All right, let me be completely honest with you. It's setting my own schedule. I love it. If I don't want to work with somebody, I don't work with them. There's a celebrity who I've worked with, and I won't tell you her name. She's a multi-time Academy Award winner. I've worked with her many times. I don't like her. She's just not particularly nice. She isn't mean. she just makes it very hard to do my job. She won't even look up when I do the eyes. She's just always in her phone. So I just realized I'm not able to be truly proud of the work that I do on you. So when her people call me to work on her, I say I'm booked. I'm not. I'm booked by Netflix. I'm home watching TV. But that's one of the things that I love most. I don't ask for much, but let me be able to do my best, you know, and so she and I aren't a match for that, right? So I don't work with her. I also love meeting awesome people, fun, interesting people, the celebrities, their handlers. Everyone has interesting stories. It's a ton of fun, right? And you know what else I love? Being considered an expert in my industry. I love it. I love sharing things with people. I love... Stacy, thank you for the compliment on my teeth. My mother would be very, very pleased to hear that. I love being, but the other thing too is, it's like I spend a lot of time learning. Even to this day, I spend a lot of time learning because I always want to be, and I never, please guys, trust me on this. Do not ever consider yourself a know-it-all. Always consider yourself green and growing and learning, because as long as you keep that attitude, you are always going to be absorbing and sucking in knowledge and becoming stronger and more powerful, okay? So that's something I always want you to do. Now, let's take a look here at number 12. Any tips on how to break into the TV movie side of the industry? Well, my advice there is I'm going to take you back to number 7, like what I did. I researched the newspapers, because right away you're not going to get in on union films right away, right? You got to accrue a certain number of days. So the most important things is that you get your days, you keep your pay charts, you keep your call sheets, you keep all that stuff. Even if it's a job you're not getting paid on, it counts as long as you have a call sheet, okay? So keep your call sheets, keep all that information. You'll accrue your union days, you can get in the union, right? So start looking for ways that you can call the little production companies, call these places, call the theaters. Everything counts as a day. So that's the best advice that I can give you, okay? Collect your days. Get yourself in the industry. Don't expect to, like my working with Ice-T, I had, look, I carved out a plan. I knew the opportunity would eventually come. Is that going to happen for you if you live in, the rolling hills of Idaho? Probably not. You'd have to make a slightly different plan, or you got to get ready to move, unless you know a big production's coming out and you might be able to form a relationship and get a day player role. But having the opportunity to have a big celebrity come out and do a shoot, it might be harder to find, right? But carve that path out for yourself. Take the same advice that that I offer you. Reach out to all these production companies. You might write 100 letters and one might say yes. You might write 500 letters and one might say yes. Guess what? You can have your letter be pretty generic, input the information you need to make it feel personalized, and just keep resending. It'll take you minutes, but the payoff will be worth it, okay? So next question. Sorry guys, I got a little lost here. Sorry, I'm really sorry. Okay, is there any different training for celebrity makeup artists? No, there isn't. There's one requirement, right? And here's the thing. There are people who break the rule, and I see it all the time. And when you guys are really well trained, if you take the course, if you take the spectrum of courses, right, and you go from Master Makeup Artistry, Pro Makeup Workshop, Global Beauty, you're going to be wicked educated. Wicked educated. Super powerful education. And you're going to start looking at things done by some celebrity artist, and you're going to be like, oh my God. Do they not notice? I was looking at a picture of, now, guys, I was Jessica Alba's roommate for a very, well, kind of, for a very brief period, one summer, right? And I was looking at a picture of her on the cover of Harper's Bazaar, and I couldn't believe how asymmetrical her eye makeup application was. You will notice this stuff when you've really learned. And when you see this stuff, it means you aren't doing it yourself. So it's a great thing to learn and know and grow. So what is the requirement of being a celebrity makeup artist? To be extremely well trained. To to know it's all in the practice. It's in the detail, the symmetry, to understand makeup inside and out so you can translate different techniques onto completely different features, and that you are completely free of your personal habits. What do I mean? Oh my God, I love lining my inner waterline black. So every time you work on somebody, suddenly you're in the inner waterline black. No, you can't have habits. You have to have a voice, but you want to be free of habits, right? So number 14, what makeup gig was it that changed my career, changed my life, and put me on the path to success that was undeniable? Well, for me, this is crystal clear. It's crystal clear. I know exactly what it is. I had already done a whole bunch of celebrities, right? A lot, like a couple hundred of them. But all of a sudden, when I got the opportunity to do Project Runway, it changed everything. With it came immediate expert status. I was suddenly being called and quoted by magazines. I was being asked to do global trainings for companies. I was immediately made a global artist for an international brand. So many other little things, but that was the thing that put me over the edge. But for every single one of us, it can be completely different. But what got me there? What did this for me? The training, the time, the effort, the practice. Everything led me that way. Would I have gotten Project Runway if I hadn't been digging through those newspapers to get myself those small films and connect to Ice-T? No, because my connection to Ice-T and all those people got me on a really small TV show on a on a cable network, and that cable network connected me to Project Runway. See, life is a funny little ladder. That's why you can't be afraid to take those steps and climb step by step. So the last question, before I start getting funneled a few, and I'm going to say one thing, so if you got questions, now's the time to start putting them up. Do you ever use drugstore products, and if so, what are your favorites? My answer to that is sometimes. Sometimes I do. On Project Runway, we used some drugstore products because our sponsor was a drugstore brand, right? And there I fell in love with drugstore lip liners, particularly L'Oreal. They're so smooth. They just go right on. I love them. I'm obsessed with them. Love them. My makeup remover, still to this day, when I'm on set, because it's so good, it's so crisp, is the Neutrogena eye makeup remover. I love it. I don't just use it for eye makeup. I use it to remove everything. It's awesome. I'm obsessed with it. The gel liners, the L'Oreal and other brands, all their gel liners are wicked pigmented. They're pretty awesome. I highly recommend that you consider those. They're great. Drugstore lipsticks, nothing wrong with them. Nothing wrong with them. They're rich, they're highly pigmented, they're long lasting. So those are my answers to your 15 questions. Now, quick thing here. I want you guys to know, just a reminder, please, 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 if you are on social media and you want to keep learning and keep growing, follow QC. There are contests, there are articles, there are so many things. It can be a great place for you to get more information and keep challenging yourself. And secondly, there are promotions right now. If you're considering joining us and you want to dive into the world of beauty and get a proper education, there really isn't any better place. And as you've probably been seeing from some of the comments here, and if you take a minute and you read our feed, you'll see that there's a lot of positive reaction to it and what people are capable of with it. What you'll see if you're a new student, you can get right now for the Memorial Day special. If you enroll in Master Makeup Artistry, you can get the Pro Makeup Workshop for free, which is a pretty awesome course, and you will also get an additional deluxe makeup kit, which includes contour, highlight, brow palettes, all kinds of awesome stuff. And if you're a current student or a graduate, in top of the 50% you already get, you'll get an additional $50 off any new course that you choose to enroll in. But that only works if you call in. So you have to call QC. You can't enter that on the computer. It'll be a 2-second call, and that'll be solved for you. So let's look at some of your questions right here. All right. Here we are. From Iris. This may be a weird question, but I'm 38, mom of 3, and only starting my makeup journey. How do I put myself out there when the younger ones have the advantage? Why do they have the advantage? Because they're younger? No, that's your own insecurity. The only thing that separates anybody from, and that's not a bad thing. My saying it's your insecurity isn't a bad thing. That's me saying to you, don't worry, my love. You're A-okay. You're A-okay. What's going to give you the advantage? Being better than them. That's the truth. Being better than them is your advantage. Don't be afraid. We all have, let's call it the little criminal, right? We all have a little criminal in our mind So this little criminal in our mind wants to do nothing but keep us jailed, right? So it's always like, oh my God, the younger people are so much better. Oh my God, whatever it may be. Oh my God, you look fat in that dress. Whatever, the criminal is out to get you no matter what you're doing in your life. And of course it's gonna get you here in this spot as well. Age has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with it. Skill, talent, and ability. Because here's the thing. How do people know that you haven't been in the industry for 25 years? They don't. And if your work looks like you have, which it can if you really take the right courses and if you really practice enough, your work can look like you've been in the industry forever. Why would they have any chance to outdo you? They'd have no chance to outdo you because you're clearly the better choice. It's what you're capable of doing. That's why knowledge and practice they'll outdo everything. They'll outdo everything. And you know what? And by older, I just mean you're older than a 19-year-old, right? And there's no offense to anybody who's any age. My point is nothing's holding any of you back. But I don't want anybody to be afraid. You're not at a disadvantage because you're younger, but you're also not at an advantage. Okay? That's the truth for all of you. The only thing that can hold you guys back anywhere is yourselves. So always have your technique to fall back on. Always be so practiced that when you walk in and you deliver the work, you're not going to tell people you've been working for 25 years if you haven't. But when you walk in and you deliver the work, they're going to go, oh my God, she's amazing. Oh my God. Why wouldn't you get the job? Of course you will. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of it. How do you put yourself out there? Be practiced and then follow all the tips that we had in this course. Set your focus, take steps toward it, but you have nothing to be afraid of. Nothing. So sometimes the hardest thing to do, and you're going to see right away, that little criminal is going to keep whispering to you always, but once you start listening to me and start booking these jobs, you're going to be like, he was wrong. And once you realize he's wrong, it's easier to make him shut up. All right? So trust me on that. Stand on my shoulders when you aren't strong enough to stand on your own, okay? Because you can do it. Nothing's stopping you. Stacy, hi. Do you think focusing on weddings gets enough training for other areas? Well, the thing that's going to get you training is taking classes. That's the thing that's going to get you training. All right? So if you want to get training, it's the classes. It's the classes you take. And Michael, thank you. He's 51. He's succeeding, right? Don't be afraid. So is it going to get me training? Well, it's not necessarily going to get you training. Training's going to get you training. What is it going to get you that's invaluable? Practice. But that's the same thing you're going to get when you're standing at a makeup counter or when you're standing, anywhere else. You're getting practice. Training is training. That's why you take Master Makeup Artistry, Pro Makeup Workshop, Global Beauty. If there's an artist you like who's in town and happens to be giving a one-day seminar, take it. Take it. Learn. You'll like some of it. You won't. You'll let it all filter through and start to shape and craft your voice, right? Super important. But the weddings, you know what weddings are going to do? And this is part of why I love weddings so much. Weddings, and a lot of people go, oh, they're a wedding makeup artist, they can't do anything else. Guess what? If they're really trained, they can do everything. Because you know what weddings require? Extraordinary precision. Why? Because on that day, that human being is going to be photographed more times than probably every other day combined for the rest of her life. So everything has to be just perfect. If you can master that, you tell me you can't suddenly extend those lines, brighten the shadows, change it. It's going to really solidify the strength of your technique. Crisp lines, perfectly applied blushes that enhance, perfect lip liners, perfect eyebrows. All of that is super important. It's going to really push your skill. So it's great practice, but it's education that's going to give you all that training, right? Good answer? All right, Jessica, you have really bad anxiety and you get really nervous when you do other people's makeup. How do you get yourself out of that? All right, guys. I guess we're being completely honest today, so I'll be completely honest too. I have extraordinary anxiety. Crippling anxiety, and it's something that, it's a medical diagnosis, my anxiety. So I get it. I'm telling you guys that because we shouldn't be ashamed to admit things like this that we have, and I'm proud of you, Jessica, for being so incredibly honest, so I might as well be honest with you too. I have sometimes crippling anxiety that can result in wild panic attacks, right? So I get where you're coming from. What do? We fall back on our skill. That's why you practice so much. That's why you learn so much, because no matter how nervous you are, when it's time for you to work on other people, how can you you get up there, you walk right up to them, and you've practiced your eyeliners 500 times. How can your eyeliner not be perfect? You fall back on your skill, you fall back on your talent, and you fall back on your practice. But don't let your perceptions of your anxiety cripple you further than your anxiety itself already does. Because I know what mine can do, so I just always say to myself, I'm trained. I know how to do this. Even in a worst case scenario, I can still do a very good makeup. That's what, notice I said worst case scenario, it'll be very good. Best case scenario, it's going to be awesome. But in a worst case scenario, and even if I'm super, super nervous, everything's going wrong, it's still going to end up very good. If you are practiced, if you are trained, if you are educated, you always have your practice, your education, and the skill you've developed through that practice to fall back on. Not too bad, right? Not too bad. So the one thing you have to do, practice. And how do we start getting there? Baby steps. Start calling over people you know really well, who you're comfortable with. Start calling over friends and family members who aren't going to care if you make a mistake, who you're going to be able to eat pizza with right when you finish. Learn in that way, okay? So that's one of the most important things that I recommend for you. And then slowly start working on people you know a little less well, a little less well, a little less well. Slow, 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 slow. Create a really nice gradiated net for yourself so you'll be safe to learn and grow and expand yourself. That's my advice for you. But most importantly, don't be afraid. Okay? Don't be afraid. And that's the thing. I know it's easier said than done, right? It's easier said than done, but you're going to have this opportunity at the end of your life, to look back and go, oh God, I wish I had, or you're going to have the opportunity to look back and go, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Be the person who goes, oh, I tried. It didn't turn out so well, but I tried. Worst case scenario, you're just going to have a story that you and your friends laugh at later. From love, right? Best case scenario, everything gets better and better. But even if the bad thing happens and you all laugh later, you learned from it. It's never a loss if you learn, right? So don't be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of. Great question, Jessica. Michael, how do I handle a group of girls who want to talk while you're trying to work? Drives me insane. Michael, good luck. There's nothing you can do. Oh my God, it's the worst. It's like, I'm trying to do your lip. Can you close your mouth for 1 minute? No, I know. It can be the worst. And what I do is, I know when it doesn't really matter, the areas it doesn't really matter to me when people are talking. I can do your skin, I can do your cheeks, but if I'm in your brows and trying to do really fine work and you're talking and laughing and moving, it's going to be a disaster. So I just say to people, okay, give me a second to do your brows, and they will. This person will stop talking, they'll know I'm doing something really important, and then, I'm on to something else that's okay, and then I go, okay, stay still for a minute, I'm going to work on your eye, and then I get in on the eyes, I work in the eyes, but I really I'll just try and separate them from some of these points, but my God, Michael, I'm with you. And I'm sure all of you are too. It's like, God, do you guys know if you just were quiet for a minute, I could be done your makeup in 20 minutes? That's the truth. Sometimes the extra 40 minutes is really, really just because they're moving and talking and laughing and gossiping and a million other things. And here we are thinking, God, stay still, I'm dying. But that's the trick. That's the secret. You got to find a way to work through it. So when it happens to me, I get one of my favorite clients. She's one of the funniest women on earth. I'm doing her for the Tony Awards next week. Everybody, when I'm doing her backstage or when I'm doing her at a film, everyone comes to talk to her because she's so funny. Well, I have figured out, and I'll just get to the point where I go, okay, I need to do your lips now, and then she'll do this. She'll keep talking to the person. She'll do it like this, and we figured out that works, right? So this is Michael, you've given me the stump of all stump questions. Guys, if anyone has the answer, the secret antidote to this, please let us all know. But that's just something you got to find your way to work with it. There's nothing you can do. And I think that's something that, it makes the environment more lively. You enjoy it. But when the person's talking so much you can't do your job, it becomes trouble. That's why I remember that celebrity I don't like working with because she's always down in her phone. Same thing. But you can't say no to everybody, right? You can't say no to everybody. All right, great question, Michael. I really, really love that question. It freaked me out. All right, Carrie, what are your favorite ways to keep learning? My favorite ways to keep learning are I love taking master classes. You know, if you ever go to any makeup shows, sit through all the classes that you can. Listen. There's going to be a lot of stuff where you're like, oh, I know that. Or there's going to be stuff where you're, oh yeah, I forgot that. Or there's going to be stuff where I don't like that. No. You know, but just let it come in. Let it soak in, right? How else do I love learning? That's why we've created these courses at QC. Guys, take them. Take them. And especially Global Beauty, guys, don't be afraid of that. The write-up on the Global Beauty Facebook page isn't right. It says learn trends from around the globe. Well, sure, right? But what you're going to learn is a whole lot of new techniques that you're going to be able to utilize in countless different ways. So yeah, you'll learn Bollywood makeup, but all of a sudden, because you're an artist, you'll be able to go, how interesting. I can use that eyeliner, but combine it with these eye techniques from this section, and all of a sudden it just changes your vocabulary. Take these courses, guys. It's kind of amazing. How else can you learn? Become your own teacher. Follow the people that I told you to follow earlier, and go to places like the Wall Group. Follow all those artists that you like. Go to any agencies you like. Just don't follow Instagrammers. And then start looking at their work and go, how do they get that glow to the skin? Let me start practicing. Let me try things until you get it. Force yourself to figure it out. You know how much you learn from forcing yourself to figure something out? It's amazing. All right, and here we go. This is a great question. I have relapsing, remitting MS. Will that hurt me in building my makeup career? I don't see why it would. I really don't see why it would. I mean, if there's times where things become hard for you, well, you don't take clients at that time, right? Like if you're having a hard time, keeping steady or something like that, you don't take clients at that time. But if you're in a perfect time to work, that's the joy of makeup. You work when you want, or you say no when you don't. Could it possibly hurt you if you booked a giant ad campaign and then something really went wrong when you're leading up to that ad campaign? Sure, it could. I mean, because you're canceling, granted for a completely legitimate reason, but then people in the industry might go, oh gosh, that could be difficult. What if she's going to cancel when our event happens? But if things are going really well and you rarely have the relapses, no, you can climb as high as you want. But that doesn't mean you're not going to still be able to do brides. What I would do, though, is I would make sure you always have a backup plan. Have somebody that is extremely good at what you do, holds your voice, that you can always have in your pocket in case, God forbid, something goes wrong. Nothing's ever bad as long as you have a safety net, right? If things are well thought out, and if people love your skill and talent and you're straightforward with them to begin with, if you think something could happen, but if, I don't tell anybody about my anxiety. And believe me, it cripples me. But I don't tell anybody about it because I don't want them to be worried. What if he becomes super anxious when he's doing my makeup? Those things are your business. But if you think at any point that that there's going to be an issue with it, then you have to have a backup plan. Which is why having an artist who's really good and talented and gifted, who knows your voice, who's maybe your assistant, is able to come in and step in moments where you might not be able to. You know what I mean? Guys, that's all my questions at exactly 8:02. Yes! Thank you all for, this was more of an intimate group, but it was a very well-engaged group, so it was a lot of fun. If any of you are truly interested in learning and pushing yourself, we have great training classes here, and we have really, really amazing advanced courses. And don't be afraid of Global Beauty. You don't have to find a million different skin tones to work on. You can work on who is available to you, and you can, I'll tell you how to do that. You can contact me on the media feeds. I can tell you how to make the best use of all these courses. If nobody's told you guys yet today, let me be the first. I love you all. I'm so incredibly glad that you're here. In the world of makeup, we're family, right? We're family. We're creatives. Creatives are sensitive people. They're people who really want to do beautiful things for other human beings and change and transform their confidence and self-esteem. And one thing that I want to be able to do with you guys is push you closer to your dreams and goals. So never be afraid. Never be afraid. And as hard as it may be sometimes, don't doubt yourselves. You're capable of anything you want to be capable of, right? So I love each and every one of you, and I really hope you'll tune in next month. If there's ever any topics you want us to cover, don't be shy. Send a message to the team at QC and let them know the things that you are interested in learning about, and we'll make them topics, okay? The more information, the more knowledge you have, the better. Please do not forget, If you sign up for Master Makeup Artistry and are a new student, you'll get the Pro Makeup Workshop for free. And Tracy, no worries that you're late. The whole thing will be up. The whole thing will be up, okay? You're A-okay. You're okay. Nothing's missed. It'll be up in probably about 10 minutes. So you're A-okay, my dear. If you're a new student, Master Makeup Artistry will give you the Pro Makeup Workshop for free if you sign up. But do that soon because it's a Memorial Day special and special for the webinar. So if you wait like a month, it'll be gone, right? So do that soon. And if you're not sure about how soon it is, well, call them and ask them. Say, guys, when can I do this till? And they'll figure it out with you. The team is very generous, and they'll do everything they can to help you make your dreams come true, okay? If you're an existing student or a graduate, you'll get $50 off your additional courses in addition to the 50% you're entitled to. And if you're new students and are unsure what that means, once you're in our family, you get 50% off every course from now until forever, whatever you want to take, because we care about you and we want everything to be able to help you to be the best that you can be. All right, so guys, thanks for helping the world be more beautiful. Thank you for everything that you guys do. Oh, and I just got a message from my beloveds. It ends Friday, guys. You have until Friday if you want to take advantage of the savings from this webinar. So take advantage of it. And here's why. If you feel like you've been shystered and we've cheated you and we've tricked you, you have 21 days to get all your money back. But if you take a minute and read the Facebook feeds, and if you take a minute and you look at some of the feedback through here, there's a lot to be learned, and it is a school that truly cares about you. We have these webinars every month so that you guys continue to push, can be pushed and grown, and that's all. So until next time, keep making the world a more beautiful place. Know that you are loved, and know that you are special, and know that you have great talent, and you are getting better each and every day. I'll see you soon, my dear friends, and until then, mwah! Bye-bye.